Episode 5. I want that shit spicy. Welcome to episode 5 of Who Is Music. This one 5. I'm telling you right now. It's been a minute since I've released one because I've been a little emotional lately. It's been like a week and a half since I've had Ambien. Haven't been wanting to talk to nobody, be social, do things. Well, actually, I have actually done a lot more recently than I had before. Not musically or podcast, because I know this one is coming out later in comparison to the others. But I've just been going through it and have had a lot that I've been thinking about and what it is that I want. And honestly, you guys, I don't even know what the fuck I want besides to be here. And sometimes I don't want that, but I know that I really do at the end of the day. But I have no choice but to try this and keep doing things like this and trying to find my way in this world. Just like all of you. But I'm not meant to be someone who works like 9-to-5s and regular jobs or anything like that. And that's the hardest thing about all of this for myself, because from that standpoint, I don't have no money. And I haven't had money in a long ass fucking time, you guys. I'm not even gonna bullshit you. Everything that I've done and released so far is because I have the bare bone equipment, enough to just do it. And I have the will to do so. But shit is hard because I don't have the money to put into this. This meaning better podcast equipment, studio for music, more like a better computer, all that shit. Like, I don't have no money, and probably most importantly is paying to use ads, because if you don't pay companies to use ads, then they're just not going to show your stuff. But for me, like, and how vocal I've been about the whole thing, I'm very hesitant on even doing it if I do get money, because you don't really know how they're showing how much they're showing your stuff and who they're showing it to. They can say, yeah, they showed it to 100,000 people, but you don't really know. And especially with AI now, because they could just show it to 100,000 AI accounts, and what the fuck is that gonna do for me? One thing that's been on my fucking mind though, for real, is like, I feel like podcast, like Spotify and different things, like they're already implementing AI and implementing things based on your personality and creating and dynamically creating things tailored to you. Because I don't know if you guys have noticed it or if it happens to you, or maybe it's just me because I think about this shit too much. But if I'm like doing something or watching something or have been searching for something, the podcast will start to tailor things to that. Because one podcast that I was listening to recently was the Joe Rogan one. And I ain't been listening to his podcast lately, but he had this nigga named Cody on there. So I was like, damn, I got to, because I'm Cody too. And his is probably one of the easiest to dynamically create, tailored to specific people, because he has so many. So I think what we should all start doing, you guys, to verify that what we hear is actually what everyone else hears, is we need to get the transcript and post it and make sure that everyone is listening to the same transcript, that they're not being tailored specifically to you to make you feel a certain type of way, be persuaded. Because you guys, I'm telling you right now, this is what's happening. And if you want more proof, look at the ads that you're being shown when you listen to a podcast, because not everyone gets the same ads. So the process and the technique that they use for ads can be applied to actually creating the podcast, if you think about it. Because if you're someone who interacts with things that pretty much say, like, people are racist, then they're going to show you things that make you think people are racist to get you to interact with it and share it and comment. And that example is just the easiest for me, because if you interact with anyone in your family who's like older, like your grandparents or parents or something, especially black ones, they're always going to tell you like, man, shit's racist. It's always going to be like this and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, man, nigga, shut your black ass up. Meanwhile, they phones got tons of viruses and shit on it. I be trying to fix family members' phones, and literally like everything is so incredibly slow. And you can just tell like it has viruses because they have tons of ads and pop-ups and shit. And how they be getting them really is they think that they talking to actual people, young, pretty women who message them on Facebook and ask them to chat with them on a new chatting app. And they download the app. Fucking stupid. I'm looking at my grandpa's phone and he has literally like 10 different chat apps that all like disguise themselves to make them look like they're your actual messaging app or messenger app. Fucking crazy. I mean, it happened to women too, because they think they talking to young, hot men and getting them to chat with them on a different platform, downloading a different app. There should be some type of safeguards implemented to warn people who are potentially talking to scammers like this to that, hey, this person's trying to move this conversation off a platform. Be wary of what they're trying to do. And like I was working on fixing my grandpa's phone because he be always trying to like the screen, the color on the screen be inverted. So it be looking weird, and I'll be fixing it, but then it be reverting back. And this nigga don't know how to do that shit. It just does it automatically. And what I know is because this isn't an iPhone, unfortunately, his dumbass doesn't know the importance of having an iPhone. And when you download an app, you have to give the app certain permissions to be able to function. But it's pretty much like a back door for someone to be able to have access to your thing because that phone wasn't tested fully and understand like, yeah, people can access it by going through your settings and changing the color of your screen to make it look inverted. And I hope you guys are like, whoa, niggas are doing that. Yes. So get an iPhone so that shit can't happen. Because the reason that happens is because like the Android store or Google Play Store, like it's open source, meaning that people can just upload code and apps like fairly easily compared to like the Apple App Store. It's kind of like a rigorous process to create an app and get it approved that it's shown on there. And also like with Android, you can download apps from different app stores, like the Amazon App Store or the Hawaii App Store. Like, that's not possible on an iPhone. You can only upload things directly you can only download things directly from the App Store. And really, like, I feel so shitty because I feel like I can't help, like, that I can't contribute and actually be someone, because I mean, of course, I'm who is he? As my online persona or whatever, but really, you guys, like, I'm Cody. For real, like, I'm Cody. I'm a real person at the end of the day, and this real person has feelings and actually cares about all of you guys. Not just providing you a podcast or giving you music that I hope you like, but, trying to help better your lives in ways that you can't see for yourself because you can't see the things that I see. That's awfully weird coming from my blind ass, because you guys, I'm telling you, I can't see a damn thing. I have minus 7.5 on my eyes, both of them. My eyes are always hurting. And right now, I ain't got no fucking money, so I gotta wear glasses. Because normally I'm wearing daily contacts, and these glasses, they're like, when I'm wearing them, they be making me fucking agitated as shit. Because they kind of crooked in the first place, because, I'll be looking for them like I'm Velma from Scooby-Doo on the ground, fucking just patting around trying to find the shit. And one night I just stepped on them and shit was crooked. Had to bend them backwards to try to fix them. But if you listen to this, I'm almost certain that you guys probably, if you're someone who's poor, has no money, join the club. Join the broke club. Join the club. But most likely, people in your family have addictions to lottery, to gambling, to playing their numbers, to scratching some scratchers, some scratch-offs, or pressing a fucking button. I can't stand niggas like that, bro. Niggas who think they're gonna get rich from pressing a button on a slot machine. That's why, I've never been to, the only time that I have ever been to a casino was on a cruise, and I just had some free credits on there that I just was in there doing it. But pressing a button, fuck no, that's an algorithm manipulating you guys, if you know anything. And those algorithms can be changed and dynamically do certain things or whatever. You don't have any say-so in the outcome of pressing a button. And that's why, I don't enjoy going to a casino, or never have, and never will, really. I say that because I'm about to whoop my grandpa's ass for real. That old bastard think he can try me. I'm about to get big on him. Push him off the steps or something. Kick him in his knee. He think I'm playing until I actually do it. He said he was going to call the cops on me, you guys. So if you don't hear from me in 2-3 weeks, just know I'll whoop that nigga's ass. Straight up. Hit him with the elbow. The rock elbow. Boom! I really wanted to whoop Bubbles' ass. But Bubbles gave me a piece of pizza today. So me and him are cool for right now, until I need a jewel pod and I have to ask him for a jewel pod. Oh gosh, bro, you are broke. Asking Bubbles for something? That nigga's broker than you. And he has a job. How are you broke and you always and you have a job? I'm broke without one. Niggas don't want to hire me. For God knows what reason. Because, I'm pretty sure it's just because God does not want me to work like that. He does not, I am not going to be someone who contributes by getting a 9-to-5 or anything like that. If I do that, you guys, that's going to suck the energy out of me to not make me want to do anything. Because this is already hard enough in itself. Not the creative aspect, though. That's really easy to me. It's the motivation to do it. But, I have applied to regular, normal places. And also tech things, but also regular, normal places. And what really irks me is when I go places and I see all these dumb fucktards fucking doing things that they don't even know how to give change back properly, or they don't know what they're looking at when you try to tell them, yeah, I want a 2-pack of menthol 5% jewel pods, and they sitting there handing you some Buse pods. I want to reach across the fucking counter and slap the fuck out of them, bro. For real. Niggas be pissing me off with that shit. How much money do you think you've wasted on vaping? Over the years of when you first started vaping, how much money you think you've spent on it? Or if you smoke cigarettes, how much you think you've spent on cigarettes? Oh man, you guys, I'm gonna set the over under at $7,500. I'm gonna set the over under there. I'd probably take the under. Nah, I'm taking over. Fuck it. I remember when I had bought the most jewel pods, like in one trip to the store. I was about to go to Poland because when I came back, I went over there a few more times, and I knew that I was about to be over there for like a week and a half. So I spent like $100 and some just on pods. I let all my niggas who I like be chilling with when I go over there hit that shit, and they was like, man, this shit is fire. And they was toking on them niggas probably smoked a pod themselves. Cause I also bought like 3 or 4 extra jewels because that's the worst thing you could possibly have, and I was prepared for that shit. Cause you have all these jewel pods, but you go over there with 1 jewel. So I had like 3 of them that I took with me. I didn't even lose none of them, but had to be prepared for that shit. But, I mean, you should be able to see, like, why some people don't like me, you guys, and I understand, because I'm a hard person to like, but I'm an easy person to love if you can see my point of view from the situations and just accept that I'm much more different than a lot of you in practically every sense. Because I don't really have a problem admitting that I'm broke. I mean, of course, I don't like to admit that, but like, nigga, I ain't the only one. But I be having to take this money from my grandpa before he goes down to our local casino, good old Rosie Rose, and think he's about to hit for like $10,000, $15,000 just from pressing a button. I mean, maybe he will one day, but he ain't done it yet, so I doubt it'll ever happen for real. And I'll be talking to him, and I'm like, what you gonna do when you wake up with $1 million in your bank account one day? What's the first thing you gonna do? He said, I'm going down to Rosie's and I'm about to hit for $50,000. I'm like, nigga, I ain't giving you $1 million then. You stupid nigga. Because you got $1 million. Why the fuck do you want to go down there and win 50,000? Because I'm going down Rosie's and hitting for 50,000. And every time he comes back like, man, I just thought I was almost about to hit this major. I was on a minor, and then I pressed the button, and it was about to be a major, and it switched. I'm like, nigga, shut your goofy ass up. And so niggas have money for like 3 days, and then it's fucking gone because he don't know how to keep it, don't know how to make it last. And he's all the time telling me, get a job. You been working on this for 5 years and you ain't got no money yet? Get a job. I'm like, nigga, it ain't even been 5 years. It's been 2.5. And Rome wasn't built in a day. You fucking Negro. Fucking orangutan. You gonna need 100 gorillas to stop me from whooping your ass. 100 gorillas. Cause I'm about to put the paws on you. I might just get one of my gorillas to do it for me. Because I'm friends with all the gorillas. All the realest niggas out there. I don't know how that shit started, but once it did, it just fucking took off. Fucking 100 men versus a gorilla. Y'all niggas stupid if y'all think y'all can beat that gorilla. I like to see 100 gorillas free for all. Who wants to be the king of the jungle? A lot of y'all probably like, man, if we get 100 of the best dudes, we could do that shit. MMA fighters and real big dudes, man, they could beat that gorilla. But that ain't the idea behind the experiment, the thought experiment. It's pretty much to be like 100 random niggas. That means picking a name out of a hat. Imagine every adult male in USA puts their name in a hat. And 100 people who get drawn, they gotta fight this gorilla. Man, that'll be scenes. Imagine being one of the 100 niggas chosen. Everybody at home watching that shit like it's the Powerball numbers and shit. And all of a sudden you hear your name being called. Jason Miller from Columbus, Ohio. You've been chosen to fight a gorilla. The U.S. government is on their way to escort you to the jungle. You can't back out now, nigga. Your best bet is just to pack a couple bananas and hope that you can distract them. If you were chosen, you might think you're a hero, a superhero or something, because what are the odds of that? Man, my name definitely ain't getting chosen. So shit, put my name in there 10 times. Let me do that. Because shit, you talk about a way to get famous quick. Just by getting your ass whooped by a gorilla. Because after, we don't have people be like, man, we shouldn't have did that experiment. We just lost 100 people to a gorilla. But then you gonna have niggas like me be like, hell no. When we doing round 2, that shit was good entertainment. Shit, imagine this being in a real venue and shit, and you know, like selling tickets. Imagine being a nigga who got a ticket to go see the fight. Shit. I'm putting my ticket up. I'm putting it up for $10,000. $100 for nigga. But being so for real, like anyone who knows me knows this is 100% true. That when I was like really big into gaming and I finally like decided, okay, I'm just going to have one gamer tag and play it across every game. Everyone knows what my main gamer tag was. I was Harambe's plug. Look me up. I ain't been active in fucking forever, but you know, that account exists and that's mine. Harambe's plug on PlayStation Network. Y'all remember Harambe? That gorilla that they had shot at the zoo because that little boy had got into his enclosure? I seen that shit and I was like, man, I need to create a gamer tag for Harambe. But I was also, when I created that, I was big into smoking weed. Huge chiefer back then. But now, I can't smoke, don't smoke. Because no bullshit, you guys, like, all of my worst experiences have all been while I'm high. And weed doesn't have a positive effect on me. Because when I smoke, I become very, very timid, very shy, very observant, but also very shaky. Like, I be tweaking out and shaking, especially when it's cold. And when I'm high and like I have to deal with any type of like, if it's cold or wind or anything, like I can't do it because I get so bad. I mean, I have many bad experiences while high, but like some of the worst were when I was in Poland and when I was smoking with May 11th because she had never smoked before and I had found a plug and shit while I was there and I had got some weed and went over to her place. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna roll up a little joint for us and we're gonna smoke and shit. And so I did. And at her place, we had the windows open. And I mean, it wasn't a cold night by any means, but it was like a chilly night. The wind was blowing and shit. So we sitting there puffing on this joint and everything, blowing it out the window, laughing. And then like when we lay down and stuff, like she's wanting to be real intimate and everything, you know, like this is her first time smoking and she's wanting to cuddle, kiss and watch movies and stuff. And like while we're cuddling, you guys, like I'm literally like twitching, like so bad and then shaking. And she starts to get worried and she's like, do I need to call an ambulance? Like, what's going on? Are you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm okay. Like this has happened before. It'll go away. I'm just nervous and shit like that. But this is really dumb. How I ultimately like calmed down was so I was like big into playing FIFA Ultimate Team too. And at this time, like when I was in Poland, like I was watching this dude, Nepenthes, Nepo Monster, opening packs and shit on FIFA Ultimate Team. And like I had to watch Nepenthes videos of him playing Ultimate Team and opening packs and shit to calm down. Like that's how far I was in the trenches with that shit. Like playing games and shit. I was over there and I bought a PlayStation. I mean, I wasn't the only one. I had my Spanish friends too. They bought their own. So we was in there playing Ultimate Team together. And y'all probably like, man, why the fuck would you buy a PlayStation when you in Poland? Well, what y'all gonna do when you not doing shit and you just chilling and you ain't trying to get lit. Because I'm gonna go ahead and tell you now, like, niggas forgot they was there for school. Niggas did no schoolwork at all. And like, I'm not kidding. Like, I mean, of course I went to class and shit, but nigga, these classes was like shit that I would be taking in high school. Like, this shit was so easy. But that's not even the worst high story in Poland for real. The worst one was like one of our first weeks. Because I mean, when you go over there, especially as a black dude, you know, like, motherfuckers gonna think that you smoke weed because you do. So I found a plug like pretty soon. And on one of the first weekends, it was like a big trip, where you had paid like 200 zloty, like $50 for a weekend trip to somewhere else in Poland. And how it worked was like on the Friday evening, you would just go to this meetup location where the bus was, and then everybody would get on the bus and you would go. But you had to like get on trams and stuff to get to this bus at a certain location, right? And before we had even left and done anything, I had smoked weed. And this was like the first time that I had went out and done shit. Other times, like, I was just smoking weed and chilling and just vibing with the people that I knew. But this time was like where I had actually gone out and I was high in public in Poland. So it was a Friday evening, and this is when the trams are at their peak. Like, there are so many people on there, it's jam packed. And during our first weeks, I didn't have a small suitcase. I only had 2 big suitcases because I went over there and I was like, yeah, I'm about to be over here for 9 months. So I'm about to have just these 2 big suitcases. And I mean, this is just a weekend trip. I don't need this big ass suitcase for this. It would be best just to have a book bag. But like, I was big into clothes and shit. So I had like 3 pairs of shoes with me. Cause I mean, I didn't know what we was about to be doing. If it was about to be like club shit, we was in the mountains. Like, I had to come prepared for anything we could do. So I bought like this big suitcase on a Friday evening when the tram is jam packed with people. And I'm high as fuck, a nigga in Poland. And here, like, we ain't got that many black people and shit, but nigga, we got family here at least. We got black kinfolks. In Poland, nigga, you the only nigga. And I get on the tram and like everybody's looking at me and they're speaking Polish and it looks like they're angry and all this shit. I'm tweaking out the whole time. And I'm like with my core group of friends and they're like, man, are you okay? You look like you ain't doing all right now. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm cool. I'm just vibing right now. But really, I was tweaking the fuck out. And that's half of the story. So we actually finally get to this bus where it's waiting and we're like not the first people, but like in the middle of the people who showed up to get on this bus. And when I get there, word is pretty much spread that, yeah, he's high as shit right now. He's tweaking out. And when you over there in like Erasmus or study abroad, whatever, you are like, people are clicking up with people from their own country. Meaning like Spanish people with Spanish, Turkish with Turkish, French with French. But there ain't many Americans who even go over there. And plus, like, niggas from America are not trying to click up with niggas from America. We trying to meet everyone else. But I will say, like, the best friend that I had made, or one of them, he was from America, but he ain't come until the second semester. And we had just vibed and just did all types of crazy shit, which for another episode, but this is just this high story, right? So we're on this bus and everyone's talking about me in their own language. Pretty much the same shit as on the tram, but now in French. now in Spanish, and everyone's looking at me saying shit. I'm like, man, fuck this. I'm getting off here. But before you we boarded the bus, you put your luggage underneath it, under the little flap that they have where to store everyone's luggage. And I had put my shit under there, and when I was like, man, I'm getting off here, I didn't even give a fuck about the luggage. I was like, man, fuck it, I'm gonna get that shit when y'all come back. So I get off and I'm just walking around trying to find a bus stop. And I find one, but I haven't been paying attention to any of the signs of like where I'm at, where I'm going. So I have no idea what I'm doing. I ultimately just ride the bus all the way until the very last stop. And it didn't take me anywhere near where I was wanting to go. So I'm like, where the fuck am I at? So like I cross the street and get on it the opposite way to where it just came from. So really I just did a complete circle of where I was at. And then while I'm on the bus, my friend called me. He's like, hey man, where you at? What's going on? You okay? And I'm like, yeah man, I'm cool. I'm just going back to the dormitory right now. And he called me and he was like, man, well, we can't leave until you get your suitcase from under the bus. I'm like, well, bro, y'all aren't going then because I'm not coming back and getting that suitcase today. So what ultimately ended up happening and how I got back to the dormitory was just what any nigga would do. Get a taxi and pay 25 zloty. Straight up. Shit is cheap as fuck in Poland. Like $1 here is like $4 there. So that's one of like the amenities of being American and going over there is when you have American dollars and you can just convert it easily. But being high in Poland as a nigga, wouldn't recommend it at all. Straight up. But while I was over there, I discovered my favorite drunk food. And here, when you drunk, what do niggas order? They probably get Waffle House or a slice of pizza or something. But in Europe and Poland, the drunk food that always hits the spot is kebab or kebab, I don't know, but it's a Turkish food and it fucking slaps. Right now it's fucking raining outside, so you can probably hear that shit in the background, but like storming hard as shit. But man, kebab is fucking good as shit. Like it's like this thing where they have like a big thing of meat and they have this like slicer that just like that they put against it and it slices off pieces and you put it in either like a tortilla wrap or a pita bread. I get the pita bread and then they put all types of toppings on there like lettuce, onions and shit like that. And then they put sauce on there that is either like ranch or I get spicy. So that's the other one I get. Well, the main one I get. And I mean, they have a word for spicy in Poland, but I don't even know it. I just went up to the nigga. I'm like, always spicy. 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 I want that shit spicy. But one of my favorite, like, high stories where I was just completely, like, fucking dumb. I just didn't know what I was doing was when I was with my big cousin. And we went to a Virginia Tech basketball game when they played Duke. Because I'm a Duke basketball fan. This is when they had Grayson Allen on the team. He was practically the only one who made it to the NBA, I'm pretty sure, from this team. And that's why tickets was so cheap for this one. Because Duke wasn't that good compared to like previous years and shit. But it was the day of. And I was just chilling with my cousin. And I was like, man, Tech playing Duke today. Tickets is $20. You trying to slide up? Man, fuck it, let's go. So we just ordered tickets on the spot and we just like, man, we going up to Blacksburg. So we go up there, right? And my cousin, he a hood nigga for real. Like, he been in jail and shit. So his mentality towards things is completely different than mine. And I had already came back from Europe and I'm cool with walking. So I'm like, nigga, I'm parking far away and I'm we about to just walk over there and shit. But he was like, nigga, I ain't walking nowhere. You better pull up straight to them, motherfucker. I'm like, nah, nigga, we walking. But we get there and I'm looking at the tickets and they say you had to print the tickets. And I don't even know if you actually had to print them or not, but on the ticket, the email that I got, it said you had to print it. And what I should have just went inside and asked them if, hey, here's our tickets. Can we get in? If they would have said, nah, you need to print them, then I'm like, okay, well, fuck. But I had just assumed that we had to print them because I'm high as shit, not really thinking, and I'm taking everything so literally. So we're at the arena and I'm like, bro, damn, we got to print these shits. And I'm like, where the fuck can we get a printer at? At the Castle Coliseum at Tech. So I'm like, man, we got to go to campus. So we get in the car and we drive like closer to like the middle of campus. And I go in, like, my cousin is chilling in the car while I told him, like, yeah, I'm about to go in here. I'm finding somebody to print these tickets for us. I'm going to be back. So I go to like the middle of campus. I'm walking around trying to find a place to go in and get tickets. I walk into the student center and I'm high as shit, you guys. And I go up to the person who's at the desk and I'm like, I'm here for the basketball game. And he was like, well, you need to go down there and there's somewhere down there. I'm like, oh, yeah, right. I need to print these tickets. Can you help me print these tickets? He's like, no, I can't do that here. You have to go somewhere else. I'm like, fuck, okay. And I ain't give him no talking back or anything because like I'm hot as shit. I'm just like, man, okay, whatever. So I go, like, I'm just walking around that building and I go upstairs and find somebody to print the tickets off for me. One of the nerds on the computers definitely was not about to go up to a bad bitch at this point and say, hey, can you print these tickets off for me? Because I would have been all over the place. The motherfucker prints my tickets off and we end up getting to the game at halfway through the first half. Because they don't go by quarters, they go by 2 halves. So we get there at like 8 minutes left in the first half. And I mean, of course, Duke won. This is Duke. A down year is a great year for Virginia Tech, for Duke. I got more high stories, but I ain't going to tell them all on this podcast. I'm going to save them for a rainy day, but not this one, even though it's pouring. I'm all over the place, all over the map. I think I'm about to go to China now because I'm trying to shine. You trying to shine? I'm trying to shine. And I don't care what you niggas say. That is a hard bar. I'm trying to shine. And that's mine. That's who is he? I mean, on YouTube it's listed as Drake, but that's who is he? At the end of the day, that's my shit. And a lot of you niggas is probably jelly. For real. So go make you a little peanut butter and jelly sandwich with that. But while you making it, why don't you jam out? Oh gosh, he's cooking today. Yeah, I'm in the kitchen, nigga. I'm in the cabinets. In the sink. I'm in the fridge. Yeah, he's cooking. Something spicy. I want that shit spicy. One of my biggest bad habits that I do is I'm someone who don't use cups. I put my greasy lips on anything in the fridge. Fucking 2 liters. Gallon jug of milk. OJ. Anything. I'm putting my lips on it. I ain't using no cup. Cause I ain't washing that shit. Because niggas don't have no dishwasher. That's probably one of the biggest indicators on if a nigga is broke or not. If they got a dishwasher. And we ain't got one. So everything got to get washed manually. With dish detergent. Not that detergent, but dish detergent. 2 very distinct things. Don't go washing your clothes with dish detergent and don't go washing your dishes with laundry detergent. Fucking up the matrix. But, like, as you can see, I'm a very cultured man. Like, I have a curiosity in international things. And one thing that's like, that I've always had an interest in, like, not an interest in, I guess, but just like man, I can't believe all that shit happened and whatnot, but like World War II, because I mean, it wasn't so long ago that all of that shit had happened. Less than 100 years. And they say it's a world war, right? So when I was just thinking about it recently, I was like, man, where the fuck was China in this shit? They say it was a world war because you don't ever hear about China and during World War II. For the longest time, I was like, man, they must have not even been in this shit. But then I went and asked ChatGPT, like, why wasn't China in World War II? And man, they were definitely in that shit. But why you don't hear about it talked a lot is because after the war, they deprioritized talking about it and their efforts in the war because during the war, they were under a different government. It wasn't a communist regime. It was the Republic of China. And after the war, that's when they became a communist. And they were a part of the Allied powers. Like they were helping us. And the closest country to them, who was a major part in this war, is obviously Japan. And they were Axis power. And at this time, like, you can pretty much say Japan was a bigger power than them. And everyone knew that because Japan had invaded China, you guys. The biggest thing that I discovered when I looked up China's efforts in the war was this event called the Nanjing Massacre. And you know, if they got massacre in the title of the event, this shit was different. And what had happened was Japan invaded Nanjing, and Nanjing is the capital of China, was the capital of China at the time. That would be like fucking Mexico marching all the way from Mexico through Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, North Carolina, all that shit till they got to DC and they said, this is ours, nigga. And nowadays, you know, we ain't letting that shit fly. We would have stopped y'all's asses at the border, at the wall, at the Great Wall of Texas. But like, this was a massacre, and they estimate that it was like up to 300,000 people who had died in this. And Japan, they like committed huge war crimes against China during this time. So they had like when they got into the city, they raped young girls and older women and like mutilated people and beheaded them. And it even said that they had killing competitions. And I was like, man, what the fuck is a killing competition? How many bodies you can catch in a day? I don't even fucking know. But that shit's crazy. And I mean, of course, you guys know they had them bayonets, them little swords on their guns. So like, not only could they like handle like combat from far away from distances, but if they got into like close combat, they had them swords on their guns that would fuck you up. And I mean, that shit was cool on Call of Duty World at War on your Type 100. But nigga, with a bayonet coming at you in real life, what do? Duck? Jump? Hide? I don't know, but shit, duck, duck, goose. So practically, like, Japan was a bigger power than them during this time. And I was thinking about this mainly because of the huge tariff war going on with China and everything. And I was practically comparing ourselves to China. And who are the two biggest, closest countries to us? Mexico and Canada. So I was thinking, like, who is the Mexico and Canada to China? And one is Japan, and I would say the other is probably South Korea. South Korea is probably Canada in comparison to us. And then Japan is Mexico. And not really many people know shit about Koreans or whatnot. And really the only thing that's popular that is associated with Korean culture is K-pop. And there ain't much shit that niggas know about Canada. And there's only one thing that people want from Canada. Drake. Other than Drake, nigga, nobody knows shit about Canada or nobody even cares. But niggas love Mexicans. Niggas love tacos. Tequila. Chinese people are still people too, you know, like they're gonna go travel and shit. And the biggest place that they travel to outside of their country is Japan. Lots of Chinese people go to Japan every year. And I bet you like them niggas probably be looking down on them too. Just like how we kind of be looking down on Mexicans and shit. No offense. But like, I mean that literally, like y'all niggas kind of short. But the tariff war started all this shit. So really it's us against them. So what we need to start doing, you guys, is when you have friends over or you at parties and shit, we need to verify that they clothes ain't made in China. So get them to show the tags. Look in the back of the shirt. If it says made in China, point it out. Hey, this nigga wearing shit made in China. He must be broke. But I think that China not being more open about them helping the Allied powers and shit after the war has kind of hindered them in becoming more culturally diverse. Because I think that if they would have been more open about what they done, then people would have came there and like lived and done shit. Especially if they would have like created some type of agreement with United Nations to get people to come, but that's just part of it. The other main part is, I mean, it should be obvious to most of y'all on why USA will just forever be more recognized globally among Europeans, Africans, South Americans. And it's because niggas can't read Chinese. Their letters look like illustrations. And that's because it kinda is. You know, English is based on sounds. And in Chinese, characters represent like whole words. And they have meaning. There's thousands of characters in Chinese. They use the logographic writing system. And from that standpoint, like they'll probably always have an advantage over us in terms of like being smart and knowing multiple languages. Because, I mean, a lot of Chinese people learn English, but not many Americans and shit learn Chinese. I mean, that ain't even an offering in high school or middle school on a language that you can learn. The most obscure language that I remember being offered was American Sign Language, ASL. And you know, them niggas had to add American in it. I don't even know if they have a European Sign Language or what. But if your high school offered Chinese as a language that you could learn, I want to talk to you. Because your high school must have had like 5,000 people and been in Chinatown. I don't know what I want to talk about now. I mean, y'all know me. I'm always trying to talk about some pussy. But I think I might have deterred some people from listening to my podcast just from the amount of sexual shit that I be talking about. And honestly, I could give two fucks because, I mean, y'all need a nigga like this who ain't got no chill. And that's the type of shit that niggas love is niggas who have no chill. Because y'all want to see shit that y'all won't do. Y'all want to hear shit that y'all won't say. Because a lot of you niggas is regular for real. I'm ruffling feathers now. Because I mean, you don't have to tell me. I already know. You're envious of me. Because I'm Who Is He? And you are... Okay. You're going to have to tell me again because I'm not going to remember that. There's too many of you. And I'm your favorite rapper's favorite rapper. A real hoe's hoe. What you going to get me for Christmas? Are you the type to wrap your own presents? Or do you have a little family member do it for you? Or are you rich and you just go to JCPenney and you pay someone to wrap them for you? Pay me $20. I'll wrap to you. Off the dome. She said I'm like a jigsaw puzzle. The way I fucking don't cuddle. Damn. I'm gonna put that one in a song for real. I'm gonna call it our song. Because it's about you and it's about me. And it ain't about you, Katie. Or your little mental health issues. Bitch, it's 2025. I got 2025 mental health issues. And so does everybody else. So get your shit together, girl. Come on. Because I want to sing to you. I want to cling to you. Like when you hungry in the kitchen. Yeah, y'all niggas ain't getting that one, but that one's fire. But for real, like, everybody is going through something. There's probably 3 areas that you can pinpoint are the main issues with people's mental health today. And the first is social media. Being on it so much and seeing other people and then comparing your life to their life and how you look to them and your content to their content. It'll fuck up your self-esteem for real. But what most people don't grasp about that, especially young people, is that when people are posting on social media, they're just posting the best things about them. They're not posting their bad days. They're not posting about them being depressed. They're posting them on vacation. You know, having a really nice outing one day or just doing something that having money allows you to do. Because most people who are on social media and are just doom scrollers who just scroll and don't actually create anything, you know, these people are the ones who are troubled financially, probably. Or they're just people who don't want to put themselves out there like that because they don't want the criticism that will come with social media and stuff. But what I can say about that is like, man, if people don't like your shit, then they just gonna scroll past it. Most of them aren't gonna sit there and take time out of their day to bash you and say, damn nigga, you ugly. Damn bitch, you fat. Damn, I can smell your ass through the phone. Like, most people aren't gonna do that. But if they do, nigga, you better clap back. For real. Because you can't allow niggas just to be talking to you like anything. So I would be wary to do that shit to me. Because, I mean, you've seen the shit that I've said to niggas in my family. Imagine what I'll say to a stranger, nigga. It's no holds barred. And especially someone whose profile picture isn't even of themselves. It's of an animated character or something. If someone does that and they try to talk trash to you, man, you got all the ammo in the world. You're like, nigga, you so ugly, you don't even want to show yourself. You probably try giving your photo to an AI image generator and say, yeah, make me look cool. And it responded back with a photo of a volcano because it couldn't even tell that you was a real person. All that acne on your damn face looked like a fucking volcano on that bitch. Damn, would you say that to someone for real? I mean, I have. So I don't really be giving a fuck. I just mentioned it briefly, but one of the 3 big causes for people's mental health issues is finances and shit like that, you know, worrying about what I'm about to eat, having money to pay for your bills, your house, your apartment, your student loans. Like, it's a big thing that fucks with people's happiness is feeling like they're not financially equipped to tackle today's society. But ultimately, the biggest one that is a factor for myself and anyone who does have mental health issues, people just feel alone. That they don't have anyone to talk to that sympathizes with them, or that they can just be themselves with. Because what I found out is like, most likely the people that you need in your life who will be these people for you are not people who you grew up with, but just people all throughout the world that you have to find them some way or somehow. And genuinely, like, in my life today, the best friend that I have is someone that I haven't even met. I just had made a tweet a couple years ago. It was the start of NBA season. And I just made a tweet and he responded back in my DMs and said something because I was talking shit about FanDuel because they had the lines locked on the Indiana Pacers and Charlotte Hornet game. And niggas was coming back from like 25 points. And I can't remember who won, but the team who was down came back and won the fucking game. And I was like, damn, nigga, I'm trying to bet on that shit. But they had it locked, so you couldn't do it. And he had responded back. And like, ever since then, you know, we just be always talking about sports or just send each other memes and shit. But like, I haven't even met this dude. But I just know that we just vibe like that. And we share similar things, similar interests. And really, like, why I have this podcast and why I started music is I kind of mentioned it in the very first episode, but I did it because I had nobody to talk to, that I have nobody that understands me, that can keep up with me in conversations and thinking and all that shit. So like, that's why I started all of this, just because like I was so alone. I mean, I have tried to go to therapy and shit, but I mean, you can't go to therapy if you fucking broke, if you ain't got no money to pay for a therapist. And every time that like I tried to go to therapy, they always be telling me like, yeah, man, it's going to be like a 3-month wait until we accepting new patients. I'm like, nigga, I might die before 3 months. And that's on y'all then, because y'all ain't want to see me. Damn, nigga, you so ugly, they didn't even want to see you in therapy. You showed up and they said, this is therapy, not plastic surgery. But all of my loneliness and things that I've dealt with about feeling isolated and shit, like, this is from someone who didn't have to go to school during the pandemic, during COVID, because that affected people a lot more than what you guys know and can possibly understand. Like, anyone who didn't go through that can't sympathize with the people who did and can't relate to them on the things that they had to endure during that year or 2 years, however long it took them to get back into school. Because, you know, like, when they were not in school, speaking from like a high school standpoint, just think about the type of shit that they lost, you know, prom, graduation, sports. That was a big like bonding for a lot of people. If they didn't actually play sports, you know, going to the stands, being in the student section. And like, the people who actually played the sports, you know, like, they just lost out on that final opportunity to play. But outside of like the social aspect of being around other students and being in school and shit, the thing that probably hindered the most people during the COVID year or two was if you had a good home life or not. If you had support to help you while you were in your own room trying to go through fucking school and be on Zoom calls with your class and shit. If you had someone to help you, like, technically, or if you had a good internet connection, like, if you actually had food for lunch during the designated time that you could have lunch. I mean, what about the people who had free lunch? I don't know. And I don't know what they had to do, like if they had to have their video camera on or if they were given like a school laptop or something. But if you ain't have to have your video on, and if I was one of them young niggas, you know what I was doing? I'm playing the fucking game all day. And if you did have to have your screen on, I'm still playing the game. I'm gonna put that shit underneath my actual TV. So it looks like I'm watching you, but I'm actually playing the game. And video games, that's one of the biggest industries for teens, for kids. Because they are like the backbone of that industry. Like games are created specifically because they think kids will play them or teens will play them. And they're just the most popular thing that you can do when you're feeling isolated or alone. And if you know anything, you know everything comes down to money. So hey, why don't we think of ways that we can create more people to feel alone and isolated so they can spend money on video games? And from some standpoints, it's not a bad idea. But also from some standpoints, it's manipulative. And that's why in a lot of games, they have like things that aren't gambling, because you can't do that in regular games, but that incentivizes that type of behavior. Opening packs, pay to win, spend money in the game to make your digital identity look cooler. So teens are the biggest players in a lot of ecosystems. And because of like that, you're going to see content that's tailored towards them to bring them into a certain space. And if you've watched TV recently, I'm pretty sure you've seen the increase in advertisements that Instagram is creating, talking about that they have a teen-friendly platform. Pretty much promoting themselves to parents, saying, yeah, get your kids on Instagram. But I'd be very wary of doing that, you guys. Because what Instagram wants is they want your teens on their platform so they can get the data from them. So they can see what people are talking about in their DMs. What types of things are they sharing? What are they interested in? Where do they go when they all together, and what do they do? Instagram wants this data from your teenagers because they lost the AI war, so they're trying other things to stay relevant. Because eventually, this little photo sharing app, niggas are gonna move past it, and a lot of people have. I say this about them losing the AI war because they have. If you have used ChatGPT and also used Llama, which is Meta's language model, then you can see like it ain't even in the same ballpark on the types of things that you can do. And if I was a corporate executive for Instagram or Meta, I'd be like, let's not focus on this. We need to focus on building Meta glasses and making that the best thing that it can possibly be. With Ray-Bans. Because they ain't competing with ChatGPT or Grok or Gemini. They lost that battle. Because their large language model like chatbot, Llama, is the worst of all of the chatbots that you could interact with, you guys. I swear. And the reason why I ain't made a podcast or released a song in a couple weeks now is because I've been doing like developer shit and trying to create create something new. But let me tell you, like, how I know their LLM is fucking terrible is because what I'm working on, it required me to like create integrations with different platforms. This means like being able to pull data from Instagram or pull data from X programmatically. And I'm asking these different chatbots, okay, how do I get connected to this API and what do I do when I do this? And I mean, they tell me. I was trying to do it with Twitter and they gave me the exact step by step, like no problemo. But this is Llama, Meta's large language model. And I asked it, how can I get connected to the Instagram API? And they're literally like, they don't even know. They don't even know how to get connected to their own API from their language model. That's fucking terrible. Like, your model should at least be trained on your own data, your own system, at the very least. But it's clear that, like, OpenAI, ChatGPT is the best. That's why almost everyone who has implemented, like, a chat feature in their app or whatever, like, most likely it's in ChatGPT. But I was working on this coding project, and the more that I was just like working on it and everything, the more I just became aware of like, unless I have a huge budget, like I just can't be able to do the things that I want to do or build it the way that I want, especially when you're trying to integrate with other platforms and pull data programmatically. Because if you do that, you have to sign up for a developer account. Like they have tiers on what you can access on just on a free tier plan. So let me tell you like what happened when I tried using Twitter or X's API. On the free tier developer account, you can only get 100 posts from a user during a month. And my dumbass, I thought that meant that like I could send 100 requests and do that like 100 times, right? So when I send my first request to get data from myself, a public page on Twitter, I set the max because you can add parameters to your request, right? And I set one of the parameters to the max return post that I get from my API call to 100. So I used my whole monthly quota in one fucking request, and I'm just testing it out. So like if I turn my server off and try to make the request again, I'll just get an error saying I've already reached my monthly quota. And this was on my own post, you guys. Like, this should be where if I am trying to interact with my own page, I should at least be able to send 1,000 requests a month to my own page. Man, come on. And why I'm saying that, like, if I don't have a budget, then I won't be able to do anything is because, so this is the free tier plan. The cheapest developer plan on Twitter is $200 a month. $200. Bro, who is paying $200 and I don't even know if I'm really going to use it for real? Like, I'm just trying this shit out and seeing what I can do. And that's just with Twitter's API. The Instagram API, I can't even get connected because you have to go through an approval process, and like you can only pretty much use their API if you're a business or if you like pay for a verified account. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if that's really true, but like from the documentation of what I was reading, they implied that you could get it if you paid for a verified account. And if you don't know, an API is an application programming interface. The application is, the mobile app that you use. Programming is the developers creating everything and telling the app what to do. And the interface is how the users interact with it, what you see. It can be thought of as like when you're at a restaurant, the API is the waiter. It's the intermediary between you and the kitchen or the cook, because you don't go straight into the kitchen and tell the cook what you want. The waiter comes and takes your order and then goes and delivers it to the cook, and then they go and make it, and then they bring it out to you. And if you've worked in the restaurant industry, you know, them kitchens be getting dirty back there. We got dishes piled up. The floor definitely needs to be mopped. And we got a nigga on break who's been on break for 5 minutes too long. So I'm half-assing now. Because if you ain't giving y'all, neither am I. And honestly, bro, like, don't tell our manager or anything, but man, fuck them customers. I'm just here for a paycheck. But the real thing you probably want to talk about, or what you're interested in, is AI. Because it's changed everything. Honestly, like, ChatGPT is making a lot of people dumber and a few people smarter. Because if you just give it a task and say, do it, you're not thinking critically about it. You're just practically copying it and using it to get a grade so you don't get a 0. And hey, you know what they say. C's get degrees. And like, I mean this from the standpoint of like a lot of kids or high schoolers, college students be like, write me a paper about Apple. Write me a paper how Apple became one of the biggest companies in the world. If you just give the chatbot that prompt and everything, like, it'll do it. But it won't be very good, because you wouldn't have been like, write me a paper about how Apple started with the Apple computer. And then they created the iPhone. And then they created the iPad and Apple Watch. And then go into detail about the differences between the iPad and the phone. What can you do on one that you can't do on the other? Rather than just that generic prompt of write me a paper about Apple, you need to get specific. And often, like, it takes iteration. And that's where I think a lot of people, like, just, if you don't use it and you try it out and you just try one little simple prompt, most people probably will just not use it to benefit them. They'll be like, man, this can't help me with what I'm doing. But in reality, like, it definitely can help you in whatever thing you are doing. But writing a paper is literally just the most simple use case. That's like having an iPhone and only making calls with it. You're not using no apps or anything. So you're not utilizing it to its full potential, because it can do so much more. Like, it can outline meetings, write code, right, Cody? Right. And you know, I can also help you with that little animated show you're working on, Cody. Why don't you tell your little podcast about that? No, I'm not ready to tell them about that, because that's going to blow their brain. But that is the next thing that you're going to start seeing a huge increase in, is the video content that AI generates. And you can do it now, but people don't know how to do it. And it's very tedious, especially like when you have limitations on how many things you can do, unless you're like using a platform and you just get an unlimited plan and you can just keep iterating and iterating. For example, like, if you're creating a movie, you're not going to be able to just input a prompt and say, create me an hour-long movie about such and such, and then it will generate a video. You're going to have to generate scenes from the video, from the movie. And often, like, how it is now is you use a service like Midjourney or just ChatGPT, and you create the image, the starter image of what everything will look like. But with that, you have to keep trying it until you get a good image that you want to actually start with, that you can envision something starting with. And typically what I do is I'll ask ChatGPT for a prompt that I use to go and actually create the image. Because I'll just give it something basic and say, okay, this is kind of the idea that I'm wanting. Now, refine my idea. And I'll be reading it and I'm like, okay, well, change this about the prompt before I even go and input it into an image generator. Because I don't have unlimited credits most of the time if I do have a subscription to somewhere. So I got to be selective on making sure the shit that I get is the best that it can get, and I don't have to do so much refinement. And one little trick that I use whenever I'm prompting to try to get the best thing, I always tell it to make a good, great, and phenomenal version. That way it has something to compare itself to on what's good and what's better than that, and then what's better than that. So once I get that prompt, I'd go into the image generator, get an image I like, and then I'd go into the whatever platform I'm using to make videos and give it a prompt. And before I do that, I'd go back into ChatGPT and say, okay, I have an image. Now I want to create a video with this as a starter image. Now give me a prompt that conveys motion and what I'm trying to tell. But maybe halfway through that video, it starts to like do something that you don't want. So from that point, you'll have to like create a new scene or like create a freeze frame of that scene and give it a new prompt to guide it from that point rather than the previous starting point. I say all this like have made a lot of videos with AI and shit, but I really haven't. I've just like mainly created photos, and I've done some video generation, but that was mainly with this platform called Kyber. And that was to generate the shorts that you see on Spotify that are like video format, little 8-second loops that'll just keep playing. And I liked Kyber because it gave you a place where you could like create videos from different models in one place, because some models are going to be better at doing some things than others. For example, like one model is probably better at another than creating realistic human characters, while another one is really good at creating motion dynamics that are realistic that you would actually see in a movie. Or maybe another one is really good at animated type of cinematography. And if you've seen the songs that I've released, I hope that you think, man, nigga, you got the best cover art, so I ain't even gonna bullshit you. Because I think that I do. And it should be clear that I get all that shit from AI. I don't go and graphic design this shit myself. But I do have to iterate over my prompts to get the right vision of what I'm thinking. Because if you've seen some of this shit that like, I'll just give it a prompt and it'll create, you'd be like, man, that shit's fucking trash. But it's something to build off of. And if you've went to my YouTube page and listened to my songs and everything, you know pretty much the only thing that I'm missing now is a music video. I haven't made any music videos to any of my songs. And ultimately, I will. But if I was to do this shit without AI or anything, I want you guys to think about the type of budget that I would need to actually create a really good music video. Because I'm not just going to sit here and make a music video of me with 100 niggas and we all just moving back and forth and shit. Like, I don't fuck with niggas, so I'm not going to have niggas in my shit. And all of my songs, are not songs that if you watch the music video, it would be just something where someone is mouthing the lyrics or doing whatever. Like, I'm an artist and I'm thinking of like real scenes of where I can actually see this shit at. And one of the most memorable activities that I remember when I was younger in middle school that kind of helped shape me into being able to verbalize the things that I want and everything was when the class gave the teacher instructions on how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But if you weren't so specific, it would look so dumb and so funny. Like, you could say, open the peanut butter jar. And if you didn't tell him to put his hand on the lid and twist it until it loosens and then pull it off, you know, sometimes the teacher would probably just take a knife and stab it into the middle and open it up that way. Because, I mean, you didn't tell him how to open it. And that's the process that I go into writing great songs, you guys. Is everything you do is a step-by-step process. Hey, step by step. Hey, if you know, you know. And to me, like, once I have an idea in my head on what a song, the story is for a song, I've cut out like half of the English dictionary, the English language, because now I have words that I can use for the subject, because that's often like what happens in songs that you guys like is they normally have a few or maybe a lot of words that are just unique to a listener that you just wouldn't typically hear in a song and expressed in a way that you wouldn't hear in a song. And going back to this point about cutting out half of the English language, I mean, when you're starting a song, what do you say? Because, I mean, you can fucking say anything. And that's the problem that probably a lot of people say is they just want to make something and put some auto-tune on it and add some effects. But they don't take the time to actually care about what they say and everything. And I'm really about to reveal the sauce now on what you guys enjoy in music and how it's changed and whatnot. Is from compared to like early songs of like, just go to any era and look at the difference between music. What is the main thing that you hear specifically in R&B and rap now? But it's the amount of background that you hear, because you ain't really ever hear background in earlier R&B and rap and shit. And I'm going to tell you, like, the person who really changed the game and innovated it that way is Party Next Door. And you might say, well, there was some people who did it before, but and yada yada, but no, Party Next Door took it to a level that you just could not really see. Because he would say or sing something and then it would have like super crazy delay on it and just really adverse effects with it. But now, you know, people have caught on to that, and that people use a lot of delay and whatnot in their songs. So it's kind of became the norm. But the next step, and people do it now, and this is why, like, as much as I said that I didn't like that Playboi Carti album, like, I do respect him on his take towards music and the craft and the art that it actually requires to actually put it all together. Is that it's very easy to just add a delay and make it repeat in the background or whatever. But like now, when you say something, people want you to say it again instead of adding a delay, or mix a delay on top of you saying it again. And so from that standpoint, like sometimes I'm looking at it as like, fuck, I have to write 2 songs in one. And people don't understand that to do that is really hard, really time intensive to balance it in a mix and put it all together. And I'm not even good at it. I just do it because like I know that's what's supposed to be done in the song. And that's how you can tell if someone really cares about what they're doing or if they're just doing it because they've already garnered an income and they're living up to contractual obligations by releasing things. But recording things that way is a sign that someone really cares. And those are the people that you should support at the end of the day in music. But like, if I have a song that's talking about cooking, well, I already know words that I can use to end this song. You know, your kitchen, your silverware, your types of spices. 'Cause I want that shit spicy. What you're actually cooking, the kitchen countertop, who you're cooking for. You know, get very specific with the things that you want or the things that you're trying to say. Hey, he wearing shit made in China. He must be broke. Join the club. Join the broke club. But nah, for real, like, this who is music, right? Yeah, this is who is music. And I think it's about time I give y'all a little bop alert. Because recently, you know, I put music on the background. After I released Who Played Pokemon, I really don't have to do nothing else musically. I'm telling you guys now, I don't have to. Between Guard Me, Fuck Like Animals, Ken and Kenya, Who Played Pokemon, Lightning and My Queen, you guys, I don't have to create music anymore. Like, I can just create content and focus on building those songs and making them songs more heard or go and recreate them. But I love music. And as soon as I like released Who Played Pokemon, I got the urge to go write something else. Whenever I'm in one of my moods, I want to talk shit, or I want to be emotional. I want to be reflective on how I feel about situations and life and women and dating and anything that you can think of, for real. Because I'm thinking about it too, but way more than you are. So I'm going to play you this, and I'm not going to say anything after. I'm just going to say everything that I want to pertaining to the song now. But what I want you to know about this song in particular is I made this song back in August. But it's one of my favorites that I've made and written. But I haven't released it or anything because, like, when I was working on it, I just seen, like, that I need to do so much more. And I wasn't in a mind state or position to want to work on it. And literally, like, I haven't. It's just a song that, like, it has a lot of the components that I was just talking about in it, and you'll be able to see. It's called Tell Me You Hate Me. Bear in mind, like, I ain't go and work on this shit just to, like, get it presentable in a podcast or anything. Like, this is just one of my favorite songs that I have, and I went back to the project, exported it, and that's it. The only really thing that I changed is, like, in the middle where the verse will go. I have mine muted for now because I ain't really like what it was doing, or I just know, like, I would just change it because it ain't what I would want. So from that standpoint, like, the middle don't have nothing, no lyrics, but you'll be able to tell, like, what I'm talking about and everything in there. I was creating it before I really learned a lot on how everything goes together. So just keep that in mind. And I know that, like, vocally, I would go back and just perform some parts better. But I just ain't want to right now because to me, it's okay for just demonstration purposes, which is pretty much what this is. Me showcasing music on a podcast. It's just me demoing it. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Go listen to Who Played Pokemon by Who Is He on your streaming platform of choice. And go check out some of my other shit. I got more fire shit up there. And follow me on Instagram. I'm whoishe_. TikTok, I'm whoishe. And Twitter, I'm numbhearts. Encourage me to keep doing this shit. Or just tell me you hate me.
Jax.
Tell me you hate me. Tell me you despise everything that I do. Tell me that you hate that I'm alive. Tell me all that shit. You know I like that shit. It fuels me, baby. And it kills me, baby. We just can't pretend that things could be the same again. A second chance. How can we know if we don't give it a chance? It fuels me, baby. And it kills me, baby. We just can't pretend that things could be the same again. Tell me you hate me. Tell me you despise everything that I do. Tell me that you hate that I'm alive. Tell me all that shit. You know I like that shit. It fuels me, baby. And it kills me, baby. We just can't pretend that things could be the same again. A second chance. How can we know if we don't give it a chance? It fuels me, baby. And it kills me, baby. We just can't pretend